though we don't agree with how we were tricked, we do believe everyone has fair right to have their say. Okay? And I will pass the mic off to Mr. Zinner.
Thank you, Aaliyah. This is good. So, ladies and gentlemen, no boys and girls today. Kids of all ages. Some of you must be around. I'd like to welcome you to Speaker's Corner, today's session. My name is Gabor Zinner. I am a local lawyer, the founder of Speaker's Corner, and the recently self-proclaimed Grand Mufti of Tomkins Park. That's a joke. Who's here for the first time? Great, so special welcome to you. And just by way of explanation about what this program is and wants to be, it is a fresh air experience, as you can tell. And it's our mission to raise the level of consciousness and public discourse in Calgary through open debate and discussion. To some extent, we want to emulate the mission statement of the CBC, which is to inform, inspire, and entertain. So there's a bit of an educational component to what goes down here, and hopefully some entertainment value as well. We draw inspiration also from the classical format, which of course is at Hyde Park. Anyone here ever been to Hyde Park? Great. I actually once got assaulted by the speaker at Hyde Park for an intervention. Okay, so in any event, we struggle to find topics of interest and relevance, and we try to find the best speakers we can. And today we have a very interesting topic for your consideration, which actually aroused a great deal of indignation on the part of the opposing parties. And the topic is there really a need for men's clubs in Alberta? And we were fortunate enough to secure the attendance of Mr. Jeff Lawrence, who will be more formally introduced by Aaliyah, to speak to the topic. We had a lady who volunteered to speak against the proposition, and as recently as 11:53 this morning, I got an email announcing her cancellation. There was a bit of pyrotechnics surrounding the whole thing, which actually entailed a call to the city police service, because she threatened, she thought that the whole thing was dreadfully anti-feminist, and we were anticipating hordes of militant ladies to protest and possibly throw eggs, but none of that happened. Yet. And the lady who initially, we also think that her enrollment was under false pretenses, because we don't think really that the identity that was given to us corresponds to her real person. And she actually sought to sabotage the event by writing to, let me step back for a moment. We operate here under city permit, and the park actually is reserved for the 17th Avenue Retail and Business District, and the executive director of that organization is a lady by the name of Barb Stein, and they graciously make this space available to us on Sundays. So out of the blue, Barb Stein gets an email from the lady that is known to us as Stasha Huntingford, and you guys want to hear it? Okay. It goes like this. Just take that, please. Hello. I'm writing to you as people like me who have a stake in human rights and what happens on 17th Avenue. I'm gravely concerned about the topics for Speaker's Corner, which occurs at Tomkins Park. I certainly support the idea of public debate and raising awareness of political issues. However, I am offended and concerned when I see titles such as "The Anguish of Native Women, Is It Real?" By the way, that's the topic for next week's debate. And we have three ladies who went through the whole residential school experience, the personal experience with the cultural genocide of which the Truth and Reconciliation Commission spoke. And I actually heard them at the U of C. And anyway, so they're slated to speak tomorrow. One of them is the mother next Sunday. What did I say? Tomorrow? I stand corrected, thank you. And more about that later. But I carry on. So she's offended by the title. And
They are okay with.
so if reading this dismissive sentence that uses outdated terms and questions the validity of facts that have been proven through statistics, research, and experience. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission has shared many horrific stories of how Indigenous people in what is now called Canada have suffered from policies that openly have cultural genocide as their goal. This issue is not up for debate as the title implies. The next session of Speaker's Corner is Be It Resolved, Man-Made Climate Change is a Hoax. I don't think I have to go into much detail about why this issue is also not a debate. I'm concerned that one person is influencing public discourse to this degree without any accountability to respect human rights or basic facts. She must be referring to me. There are multiple consequences with this framing of facts and history as debates. I do not want a child to believe that climate change is a hoax or to question the legitimacy of the trauma Indigenous people have suffered because of Speaker's Corner. I look forward to hearing from you about how we can improve this situation and maintain public discourse in Calgary. Thank you. Signed, Stasha Huntingford. The last thing I'm going to share with you is my response, because I guess I too get a chance to respond. And here goes. Can I have the... Oh yeah, here it is. So, are you guys up to it? Okay, it's more than a soundbite. So I say, hello Barb and Stasha. The email below has just come to my attention and I take the liberty of responding. For the benefit of Stasha, I begin by mentioning that we operate under a municipal permit. We are expected to and do comply with all pertinent laws, rules, and regulations. The objective of Speaker's Corner is to raise the level and quality of consciousness in this community through open discussion and debate. We try to inform, inspire, and entertain. I repeat myself. We dedicate considerable time, effort, and energy to finding stimulating topics and speakers who can articulate a position with clarity in an engaging manner. We also struggle to find topic headings and resolutions that will engage the interests of the community and our audiences. I would say that overcoming apathy and public indifference is consistently our greatest challenge. This is true. We've had leaders of political parties speak, an MLA, numerous lawyers, economists, business owners, etc. Political correctness is not the standard by which we measure success at Speaker's Corner. Rather, it is the quality of discussion and debate. Thank you. I recently attended a seminar at the U of C dedicated to the current Native experience in Canada. And one speaker was the mother of a murdered daughter, another a Native lady who had recently earned a PhD and teaches about the experience of her people, and a third, a lady who spoke in the most fundamental and direct way about her experience and that of her family relative to the residential schools, all of which has, of course, recently been well documented. They each spontaneously agreed, hang on now, I immediately felt compelled to invite them to Speaker's Corner to share their experiences with a view to creating greater awareness of what has justly been so well documented by the Commission. They each spontaneously agreed. I sensed in their delivery an anguish, which was delivered with great dignity. Hence the formulation of the topic heading by me, for which I take responsibility. Through Aaliyah, we asked them more than once if they were okay with the topic heading. I'm told that they each repeatedly confirmed that they were. Hence, with this background, of which Stasha was undoubtedly unaware, I'm chagrined that Speaker's Corner is being attacked for insensitivity. As for the climate change debate, I repeat what I frequently said at the outset of many sessions, that as far as we are concerned, no certainty is beyond questioning. History shows us that the heresy of yesterday is the orthodoxy of tomorrow, and vice versa. So this has to be true for the most firmly held beliefs, including climate change. The speaker who wishes to speak on this topic is a scientist who has considerable empirical evidence which he wishes to advance in support of his position that the notion of man-made climate change is a hoax. We do not consider it beneath contempt to hear what is currently an unpopular opinion. If the man is a heretic, he should be exposed as such in the marketplace of free speech and ideas. We welcome that. Airing and debating unpopular opinions fulfills the mission of Speaker's Corner, provided, of course, that it does not violate our laws relating to hate speech, defamation, or incitement to violence. We will defend with equal vigor the right of Stasha to express herself and to advocate beliefs which I suppose may be anathema to many, even though I don't know what those views are. If Stasha wishes to discuss with me further, I would be pleased to oblige, hopefully this coming Sunday at Speaker's Corner. It's a no-show, she's not here. So thank you for indulging that long-winded explanation or introduction. I think you should now be hearing from our speaker, who will be introduced by Dr. Bailey.
Thank you, everybody. For the record, I and Mr. Lawrence here were viciously attacked on our event page, which is why the police became involved, because of the hateful stuff that was being posted by not just the feminists, but also by the MRA, which is the exact opposite, the men that hate women. And the women that hate men were all attacking everybody, including each other, viciously, sadly. But I do want to tell you that Stasha is also known by Tag O'Toole online, and she was involved in a few of those conversations where she asked about next week. So she actually, before she went to the city and complained about next week, she knew that we had 3 Native ladies speaking, and in my reply to her, to what she said, which we will read later, I will let you know what was said on that account. Right now, we are here today about men's clubs. This is important. It's something that most of us really don't think about. The way I was brought up, the way a lot of you here were brought up, is that men don't cry. Men don't show their emotions, especially in front of women. But you know what? We're all human and we all have emotions, and men need a safe place where they can show those emotions, share those emotions, and get advice from other men. And today, Mr. Lawrence is a very happily married father of 6, who not only owns his own retail cigar store in Airdrie, but has started franchising it. He has grown Cheap Smokes and Cigars over the last 3 years into a chain of 9 stores in Alberta, and is now expanding into Saskatchewan. Mr. Lawrence graduated from SAIT in '88 as a mechanical engineer and spent over 20 years working in the oil industry with a number of companies before leaving his last corporate job as VP of International Sales and Marketing in Houston, Texas, to come back to Calgary to work for himself so he could spend more time with his family. This major life change led to his real passion, mentoring men to greatness, and that is a direct quote, as the regional coordinator for the MDI in Western Canada. And I asked Mr. Lawrence to please take the mic.
You have to just move this a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. Well, maybe like, I think that's better. Okay. I think that should be good. Well, I guess before I get started, I just want to thank the organizers here of Speaker's Corner for the invitation to speak to you all today about a somewhat small but yet growing men's organization in not only Calgary but all over the world. And I'd also want to thank you all for coming. It's a beautiful Sunday, and I know you've given up all your your time with your family to be here, hopefully to listen to a two-sided debate, which is not going to happen, but I thank you anyway, and I do appreciate you being here. Yeah. So, honor the truth. Be humble. Defend humanity. Be an example to children. Be a man women can trust. This is just a part of what I believe in, a belief fostered from hard work and great support. Support from a team I joined that believes in creating stronger communities. Through team support and challenge, I've learned better ways to communicate, better ways to assess myself, and better ways to achieve goals in an honorable manner. However, this is just part of what I've gained from being in men's teams. By the way, we call them teams, not clubs. Other lessons I've learned is how to be the man my wife can trust, how to accept my father's successes and his failures so I can choose my own path, how to not compartmentalize my life. I now have balance between work, play, passion, team, and family, and they're all in line with my purpose. It's led to an incredible life of harmony. The men's team I belong to is MDI, which stands for Mentor, Discover, and Inspire. Our mission is to cause greatness by mentoring men to live with excellence and as mature masculine leaders, create successful families, careers, and communities. To cause greatness by mentoring men to live with excellence and as mature masculine leaders, create successful families, careers, and communities. And our vision is a world where honor, selflessness, commitment, integrity, training, and learning give men the wisdom and the courage to serve all men, women, and children for the betterment of humanity. And our core values for our organization are integrity, trust, commitment, and service. We don't discriminate. We accept all men. We don't give advice, as mentioned earlier. We don't give advice, and we don't tell men how to act, and we certainly don't tell men what to think. We merely mentor men to greatness by asking quality questions so they can live successful lives, whatever that looks like to them. For more information about MTI, you can go to mentordiscoverinspire.org, and all the information's there, so you can look us up online. There's no secret here. In my view, the purpose of a men's team is to challenge you to be the man you want to be. That's really the key. The man you want to be. It's really an amazing phrase, the man you want to be. Do you know who you want to be? Are you that person right now? In our world today, there's a lot of conflicting messages. A lot of do this or do that. This is how a man should be. He needs to be sensitive, strong, in touch with his feelings, rock solid, open doors, be self-sufficient, be giving, noble, wise, loving, hardworking, and the list goes on and on. Now with the pressures of life, finances, sickness, and all the stress of work, relationships, and everything we all face, it's overwhelming. Most men have a hard time discussing their problems openly. I know I do. I mean, really, who do you trust? Where's your support network? And where do you turn for mentoring? This is what a true men's team can provide. A place for a man to go and talk through his issues, find answers to his questions, share his wins, and share his failures. And share it in an environment that supports him. There's not enough places for any of us to do this. When you have a stressful day, wouldn't it be great to know you have someone you can vent to and not be judged? Just getting it out of your system starts to make you feel better, stronger, more capable. And you can just leave your day behind you. This is just one more aspect of where a team helps make men stronger. I found MDI back in 2007, and they helped me really see how I was showing up in my life so I could start making some changes that I wanted for myself. They also helped me define who I wanted to be by mentoring me to find my own purpose. And my purpose is to build stronger communities. That's what I do. And to set goals to achieve some amazing results in the 4 main areas of my life. In my health, I've actually lost 65 pounds in the last 2 years. A lot to do with the pushing and prodding of my men. My family, I've changed my entire focus. And now I spend almost every single weekend with my kids at the lake. In fact, I'd be at the lake right now if I wasn't speaking to you. But I'm glad to be here, thank you. My business, as I mentioned in the intro, I mean, my wife and I run the business together, so I work with my wife. And we've expanded our business from 2 locations 3 years ago to 9 today. So, you know, trying to find that balance, it's incredible. And spirituality is the 4th pillar of what we focus on in our men's organization. It's not a religious organization, but now I'm truly connected to my purpose and I live every moment of my life. And most importantly, I can now proudly say, I'm a leader, I'm a father, I'm actually a grandfather, I'm a husband, I am a role model, and I am the man I want to be. Our meetings are held weekly in Calgary. Actually, all around North America, they're held weekly. And one of our standards is no drugs or alcohol prior or during our meetings. This is not a place to hang out and talk about hockey or other superficial things. We take our meetings seriously. It's a place to get work done on yourself and to help others do work on themselves. You need to have a clear head to benefit from all the wisdom being shared at our meetings, and that's why that's in place. Typically, I learn best from my mistakes and my failures. So our team does not give advice. We simply share only what we've learned from our own lives, our own experiences. The idea here is to learn from other men's mistakes so you don't have to make the same ones. It's working out okay. MDI's been around for about 15 years, and we've helped countless families. And when I say families, I really mean it. Men, women, and children. Indirectly through the work we do on our teams around our fires, but also directly with many community-based events, such as our international cause. I mentioned we are an international group, and our international cause is ending abuse. So we've been involved in fundraisers and provided lots of labor for the construction and repairs to homeless shelters, women's shelters, and many other community projects aimed at education, prevention, and treatment. Another event that we're very proud of is the Roderman's Memorial Men's and Lads Weekend, which actually happens this September. It's a place where fathers and sons from the whole community, you don't have to be a member, everyone's welcome, to come out and enjoy a weekend of pure fun. In today's world, too often we don't make time for fun, and that's what this weekend's really all about. I've personally brought my sons to this event and lots of their friends as well. It's become the highlight of their summer, and really mine too. And I go to the lake every weekend, and that's how fun this event is. And the other one I want to talk about is the Ray Lowry Project. Many of you may have heard of it. It raises money all year round in different events all over Calgary to ultimately serve happiness and deliver hope during the holidays to families in need. Last year we provided over 80 hampers, and this year we expect to grow it to over 100. It's a lot of families in Calgary being taken care of by our teams. As a team, we help men become better. It's really that simple. Better fathers, better husbands, better sons, basically just better people in our community. On team, we're more than just friends. Actually, you might say we're not friends at all. Friends tell you what you want to hear and cheer you on regardless of where you're going. To be clear, there's nothing wrong with that. I have lots of friends. But the difference between my team and my friends are, my team actually holds me accountable to the commitments I make. I gain clarity from my team telling me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Sometimes that's ugly, but you need to hear it. My team challenges me to be better every day. To be the man I want to be, the man I am today. I found a purpose that serves my community. I've created relationships that nourish me instead of drain me, and I really have an amazing relationship with my wife. Honor the truth, Be humble. Defend humanity. Be an example to children. Be a man women can trust. These are all things I've learned from being on men's teams. So the question today was, do you think we need more men's teams in Alberta? You know my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. In a normal course, we have the opponent speak. Our scheduled speaker hasn't showed up. Is there anyone here who's prepared to make an intervention opposing what you've heard just now? It's an open mic. Going once, going twice. Anybody? If not, the mic is generally open to the audience for questions or comments. You can stand up and support Jeff. You can seek clarification. It's open mic. So if you want to intervene, just line up over there, please, and we'll recognize you as you show up.
Yeah, really. Let's just rush there.
Oh, come on. Somebody's got to have at least one question.
Yeah, the lady over here wants to speak.
Jeff, how do men get in contact if they want to get more information about this group?
Well, clearly you can go to mentordiscoverinspire.org, get more information there, find a team in your area. You can also contact me. I think the information's on our site. It'll be, I have some information with me if anybody's here that wants to get some information, so you can see me afterwards for sure.
And all else failing, you can always go to Speaker's Corner Calgary and post a question there, and I can pass the information on to Jeff or give you the link. We have one intervener. There goes.
So for me, my understanding of feminism was about the choices, opening up choices for women to show up however they are, as they are. And so at the same time, I don't think there's any argument that there are definite polarities between masculine and feminine energies, particularly for those who are in cisgendered, heterosexual relationships, so women born as women, identifying with women attracted to men. So those relationships have a place in our culture. It seems to me that my question is, can you speak to how the conversations that are just with the masculine energies, why a man's club for just men to meet together? Right, the value of having a conversation, just men.
Jeff, we can take the microphone and you can just sit down and answer if you want. Just
That makes more sense.
Hello? There we go. Okay, so I don't know if I can answer for all men, but I can certainly answer for me. And for me, it gives me a place that I can, I guess, take my mask off, let my guard down, be absolutely real with my men and not be judged in any way. My wife is looking, she gets scared when I'm not certain. And basically I get certain by going to meetings and talking to other men. So when I come home and I can be that rock for her, and it keeps her from being scared. And I make sure that when I get home that I'm there for her. And it's not about the fact that I too talk to my wife. Don't get me wrong, we have great conversations. But usually when I come there, at least I'm certain, and certain is powerful, and it's liberating, I think, for my wife and for our family.
Mr. Terleski?
I applaud you on your work. I attend Center Street Church. You've probably heard of it. We have probably one of the largest men's group there. It's something iron it's called. I can't remember. It's about the verse in the Bible. Men sharpen men as iron sharpens iron. And you know what? It's admirable the work you're doing, whether it's a religious group or not. Because I think men in society today face a lot of stereotypes. They face a lot of roadblocks. Just seeing what I saw on TV recently, that this could even happen in public, where this new thing is to men to jump in front of a journalist, and I think the derogatory term that's yelled, fuck her, and I'm not going to, FHITP. Does some of you know what I'm talking about? And this is somehow cool now, to yell a derogatory statement on live television in front of a woman and degrade that woman in front of everybody. The fortunate thing was that woman decided not just walk away, she actually turned on the individual and said, how can you say something like that in public? He's now lost his public job with the government of $125,000 a year for opening his stupid mouth. But you know, the other men are egging him on to do that. Other men are telling him, hey, this is pretty cool to degrade a woman like that in public. My Bible never teaches me to do that, to degrade any women, whether in public or private. So, you know, I applaud that. You know, men are taught that, you know, you have to pound the chest and treat women like dirt. I hear men tell me this all the time. If you just talk dirty to her and treat her like unhuman, she'll like you more. And there's some truth to that, but I think that's that falls into the category of women being convinced that they're not worth anything, that they're only worth something to a man when they degrade themselves. And the Hollywood industry does that. Hollywood actresses now, what's her name? Taylor Swift. If you notice, slowly but slowly, she's taking off more clothes. She's an amazing voice. This girl doesn't have to take off a bit of her clothing to become more popular. She's hugely unpopular, but slowly the industry is telling her to get more scantily. And again, it's more false images of women and men as well. And I can't respond for you her question, but my perception on it. They're human beings, I agree with you, and they should all be treated with respect, whether they're homosexual, transgender. But what you're really asking him is to come to a chess club with your checkers. And it's all fine to play checkers, but it's a chess club. And I guess society will have to find ways and means to bring these people in and have societal contact. But maybe you didn't mean it like that, but I would find it improper for, and I'm not saying you're saying it, but it's coming out there in the groups now, that different life choices have to be forced into groups like a heterosexual male group. And I don't think that's right. I think it is forcing checkers into a chess game. This group is primarily, I doubt you leave out gay men if they want to join the group, but it is generally for men. Now, we have this new intervention into society that we now call transgender, this athlete now that wants to be known as a woman. I think you should be treated with respect, but I think there should be groups of commonality to have that type of solidarity and not force chess into checkers. That's just my opinion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up, sir.
First off, thanks for coming out. I'm glad somebody showed up. Just with all the hostility towards this, like, look, I don't get it. I mean, why cops? Why flame it on the internet? I mean, nothing's really all that controversial what you're saying. I mean, I spent most of my life in the military. We sort of had that beaten into our heads, how to treat people with respect and how to treat yourself as well, and also your fellow man and fellow woman. And nothing you really said is all that crazy. So why the hostility? Why the anger towards this? Thank you.
We can't answer for the feminists why they jumped on this. It was brought to my attention by a young man himself who said, because we went with the term "our men's clubs need it," they jumped on it because it's old school and also could prelude to strip joints, was one of the topics that was put to me. But it was not by the women. So we really don't know why. It's just because they have a hate on. Some of them are radicals, not all of them. I do believe that the Taking Back the Night was lured into a false perception of what this talk was about, which is why they did not show up with their placards, because they did ask us some honest questions. What is it about? Who's a member? Are you guys members of this club, and why are you doing this, and why is it only one man speaking? So they were led on by the person who was supposed to be speaking today, and they told us they were going to be picketing, and I bluntly told them that's fine. We believe everyone has the right to have their say as long as they're respectful. So we really don't know why. Jeff's going to say something, and then we'll have this gentleman.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I think that the topic itself being, are men's clubs needed in Alberta, I think was a little bit misleading. I mean, first of all, we don't call it clubs. It's kind of a throwback to the old boys network. We do call it teams. But I think they started to defend that position, and then eventually there was actually, as you mentioned earlier, there was some men from the U.S. that got involved and actually started stirring the pot too. So it's not all one-sided. I think there was a lot of hatred thrown in both directions, and I chose not to engage on the internet. I mean, I know what I'm about, I know what our organization's about, and it's certainly not about bashing women at all. And so in not engaging, I think it allowed it to continue. I'm not sure if it would have been better to engage, but my choice was to not, and debate it here in the live forum rather than on the internet, where people can be cowardly and say just horrible things. I mean, it was literally disgusting what was saying on the internet. So I can't answer for why, though. Thank you.
No, it was better that you didn't, Jeff, trust me. By the way, most of that stuff has been removed.
I have been on men teams for 5 years now. I've also supervised men on construction for 46 years. And I can tell you firsthand.
Come to the middle.
Yeah, you're in front of the speaker.
I can tell you firsthand the benefits of being on team. It just brings an understanding of men sharing together their wisdom, some of their problems, but mostly it's about getting to know yourself better. And it has been the ideal place that I have found that provides that. And I think that all men and all families need to have such a thing available to them for their own personal growth. And I commend Mr. Lawrence for all the work that he puts into this. And I can tell you, it's been a huge benefit for me. So I hope that more men inquire and join men's team for their personal growth.
Thank you very much, sir, for that enlightenment. Brian?
Eliane and Gabor and Jeff. Jeff, first of all, I'm just so impressed with you and the positive, progressive enlightenment that I hear from this organization, so I just want to acknowledge you for being here and sharing that. And congratulations on your 9 franchise, it's pretty cool. My name is Brian Lee. I've been involved in this community for a long time. I remember 35 years ago being a member of the Knights of the Round Table, which was an all-male service club. And I was one of those who voted in favor of allowing women to join. We amended the Constitution. And I recall vividly that the headline of the Calgary Herald was, Knights of the Round Table lowers the drawbridge. I remember 20 years ago being a member of JC's, Junior Chamber of Commerce, when there was a men's group called JC's and a women's group called JSETS. And JSETS folded and women became a member of the organization, and it's been more dynamic, more successful, more productive since that occurred. I remember being a member of Toastmasters International when there was a Toastmistress International. Talk about a god-awful name. And it was a pretty dynamic organization, and I recall as it devolved, Toastmasters opened up the doors, let's collaborate. Toastmistress folded, and I spoke at the Toastmasters Regional Convention here in Calgary in last November, and what a dynamic organization it's become because men and women are both members. Now, as a professional speaker, I have also observed over the past 30 years, 31 years actually, that there are hundreds of women's conferences, hundreds of women's groups, hundreds of women's advocacy organizations. And I have to say, I don't have the slightest iota of resentment that they're all female. I think it's fantastic that they are there to serve as a self-help, self-promotion group. Over the past 30 years, I've been involved with or associated with at least 60 different multicultural ethnic organizations. And I'm going to make this observation. I believe that Calgary is richer because of its multicultural diversity. And I believe that it is richer because it has allowed those with that particular ethnic heritage to affiliate amongst themselves because they wanted to. Now, on that note, I've been a member of the Lee Family Chinese Association now for almost 40 years, and they've never allowed me to be a full member. I've had to be an associate member because they don't allow white people to join, and I haven't felt the slightest bit of resentment, other than finally, after all these years, they allow me to buy tickets for the annual banquet a little cheaper, even though I'm not Chinese. So I want to say that I think that the beauty of our human rights legislation in this province and in this country is that those who want to affiliate can do so as long as it's not adverse to anybody else. So again, Jeff, I just want to offer my enthusiastic remarks. I think this young lady here seemed to imply by her question that why wouldn't you want to have women there? And I would say to every other organization I've just referred to, why wouldn't you want to have the whole world as members? And I don't get that. I think that we're richer and better because of it. And I think this is a great conversation again, and I acknowledge Speaker's Corner for making it possible.
Yeah, by all means. In introducing himself, Mr. Lee quite modestly omitted to mention that he was the youngest city councillor elected in Calgary. He was also formerly a member of the Legislative Assembly, an MLA, for a term. And he's also the founder of the Calgary Leadership Forum, which to some extent is a parent of this program and a major contributor. So, Brian, thank you for your intervention. Thank you for everything you do. I think the lady wishes to make a rejoinder.
Something I learned from being around the men who are on men's team is that sometimes I'm not very clear. So I'm going to try and be clear. My intention was to speak to the fact that for me, it's important for me to gather with my women. There are things that you just can't understand. As much as you might love me, right? I bleed for 3 days a month, and that changes everything. I'm connected to the universe in a different way than your body's connected to the ground, and so on. So I was just trying to say, to ask you to speak to, which I think you clearly did in your experience, the benefits of men speaking with men without the children and the women around. That's all. I was bringing up that conversation. Not that I disagree in any way. I think it's a beautiful thing. And what I said was that, you know, feminism was about women being able to stand up and show up as they are. And so I think for a man to have that opportunity with their tribe, with their elders, with their youth, with their peers is also a beautiful thing in my experience. So thank you for saying, showing up the way that you do for your wife. Right?
Anyone else? Pro, con, anti? A rejoinder? Okay. Hey, before you do, allow me to present this certificate of appreciation to Jeff, as we do to all our speakers. Okay, so Jeff, I actually had two of these printed. One for you, one for the lady who chose not to show. And we say to you, as we say to every speaker, that we thank you for dedicating time and effort by speaking at Speaker's Corner. Thanks to your contribution of ideas and energy, we are better able to inform, enlighten, and inspire a more vibrant Calgary. We appreciate the fact that it takes a certain amount of personal courage to show up and to expose yourself and your ideas. Open yourself up to attack and potential ridicule, and most importantly, tearing yourself away from an afternoon at the lake with the family. Jeff, thank you so much. Merle, I think you'd like to.
And thanks, and I apologize if it sounded like I was going after you personally. It wasn't. There's a reason why some of my comments I made, and I'll make it quick. Those in Take Back the Night and such organizations I was involved with when I was a teenager. It's interesting to Take Back the Night when they have their demonstrations about 2 blocks from my house. Men are not allowed to march at the front of the march. They have to be quiet. Actually, that was a directive in Toronto, actually, at the Take Back the Night march. They weren't allowed to say anything. And I partly get it, but to me, it's, if we were to have a rally like that and say, women, you have to be at the back of the bus and you can't say anything, I think there'd be hell to pay for it. And I think Take Back the Night that's the reason they're not here. And I'll finish with this. They say they appreciate men's rights, and only if it politically falls into their political spectrum. That means you better be adamantly pro-choice on abortion. If you're not, you don't support the group. So they have a certain political tinge, which they have the right to, but they have an idea that his group and group like Promise Keepers and the other groups that I know of somehow are inherently, by definition, anti-women. And that's not the case. That's like saying all feminist organizations have to be pro-choice, which they're not. Real Women of Canada is a huge organization with thousands of members, and they are not pro-choice. They are pro-life women, and they belong in every province in this country. So it really is a kind of an attempt by the ultra-left to take over these so-called movements and say, you have to agree with this political directive. Because I can only imagine the comments you got on there. I've seen them before. You have to agree with this political directive, or you're really not a men's group, a rights group, or a women's rights group. And I would disagree with that.
Thank you very much, Pearl. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add? This lovely lady here.
Jeff, first of all, thank you so much. I really support what you're up to. I'm going to scream. Okay, sorry, I'll stand right here. My name is Doris Bryan. Hi, Gabor. I am. Yes. Hi. In a minute. Aaliyah. I've been in the business world for a long, long time. I've been operating in a man's world for a long time, to the point where I actually forgot that I'm actually a woman. And so I got to tell you, when you said, and I don't know what the word you used, but when your wife expects you to show up as being, what was the word you used? A rock? Okay. You know, what was the word? Certain, yes. We're all left and right-handed brained. You know what I'm saying? So we've got the feminine side and the masculine side. And as women in this world, I've had to be so much on my left side of my brain, and that's not who I am. And so thank God for women's organizations and for my women friends who dare to tell me the truth. And trust me, dealing in a man's world as long as I have, they do dare to tell me the truth, because, you know, I'm a force to be reckoned with, there's no question. However, I'm single, and I'm single because I really have a difficult time finding someone that is strong and that can really operate from that place of strength. And men oftentimes, and my two husbands, not that I'm collecting them, but my two husbands, they struggled with being the gentle, soft side because I was in the business world and I had to be really strong. So I didn't want to see that. I wanted to see strength all the time. Well, that flies in the face of who we are as human beings. We're both. And so to have men be able to go to men and be the strength that they need to be and be supported that way, man, I'm telling you, the women benefit, but more importantly, the children do, the boys do. Because boys now, there's so many men that are so confused and they don't have a place to go. I mean, girls are confused too, but we're naturally confused. Men aren't. You know, men need to be clear. I'm sorry, what did you say, Jeff?
I didn't say.
No, you didn't. I did, and I stand firmly in that. It's okay because it's just who we are as women. Not some of us, not as confused as others, but you know. But I really support what you're up to, Jeff, and I thank you for what you're doing, and I thank you for speaking about this. And as a woman, I'm grateful, and I guess that's it. And thank you as well, Gabor, for doing this, and also Aaliyah. And I know you and I have been talking about what I want to be talking about, so we'll take that. But this is a great topic, and I thank you so much for doing this. Yeah, thank you.
Just picking up on that last comment from Doris, I quite openly acknowledge every session that we're always begging for topics and speakers and topics to come forward, because we have 26 sessions, and it's tough to fill the agenda, and this lady struggles valiantly to fill it. Bottom line, do come forward. If you have any ideas that you'd care to see discussed or aired, do come forward. We need ideas, we need speakers, and it is community-based. Oh, and allow me to share something with you guys. So, our vision for Speaker's Corner. We have a dream. Martin wasn't the only one with a dream. So there are certain programs that are conceived with a purely local purpose, but they, by virtue of the quality of excellence and the value that they deliver, they manage to attract international significance and value. I think of programs such as Austin City Limits, for example. Anyone here not aware of Austin City Limits? Not aware? Are aware? You're not. Okay, so it's a great show. Comes on KSPS at midnight every Saturday night. The best acts you ever see. The Boston Marathon, for example. There's a gazillion marathons around, but the Boston Marathon is the elite marathon around, well, on the planet. There's, for example, the Sundance Film Festival. They all started out with a local purpose, but by virtue of the quality and excellence they delivered, they attracted an international following. Well, we have similar aspirations, and here's what we have in mind. We want to get a 50-inch screen over here so that we can have a Skype hookup to anywhere on the planet, whereby we can attract the most eminent thinkers and speakers and the most dynamic ones to bring them right here. And so, for example, if something explodes in Cairo, we can potentially have a speaker articulate a position right here via the Skype hookup. And this is what we'd like to do. We'd like to be the Austin city limits of public speaking. And technology has moved forward since Hyde Park started 165 years ago. So I just want to share this with this particular audience here today. And in that spirit, you've got topics, ideas, please come forward and help us, grow with us. Thank you. Anyone else? Anything? We still have time, but Jeff? Okay, going once, going twice. Bang, it's over.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. And if you would like to check out any of our stuff, we are at Speakers Corner Calgary on Facebook. You can also go to /speakers-corner-Calgary on Meetup, and you can find us there. All these sessions are videotaped and they are posted on YouTube as well as our Facebook site. So we encourage anyone who couldn't make it down today to take a peek if you know somebody who might be interested. Also, Jeff has some information here if anyone is interested in getting anything from him. And next week our topic is the anguish of the Native women. We have 3 women who wish to speak on this topic and to share their life stories with us. And as Gabor already mentioned, I won't regurgitate that it is going to be very interesting to see. And there's going to be some points brought out that actually I learned a few things. And I was humiliated by a few things from my grandparents because they were settlers who came in and took this land for a few dollars for 100 acres. So yeah, and what was done to the native people of the time. Any of our titles that we use at Speakers Corner, we come up with. Then we put it forth to our speakers, and they have their input on if they want it changed in any way. We do try to respect everyone. As Gabor said, we are not politically correct. That's not our agenda. Our agenda is to get both sides of a story. It may not be a good story. We may not want to discuss it like abortion, but we try to get knowledgeable speakers on both sides of an issue, and then we want to give people the chance to make informed decisions for themselves. Today, a lot of people say we can't trust the media, which is why I felt that we need to get Skype stuff going on so we can talk directly to people in these countries where these conflicts are happening. I've already got some contacts with Syria and Egypt, and we're looking at a few other countries like Palestine and Israel. We do have some contacts here that we are going to try making some contacts there to talk to people in these places to get firsthand information about what is really going on from their point of view. So we thank everybody, and we ask you to stay tuned to Speakers Corner, and we're going to have a lot of exciting changes, including the gazebo will be painted hopefully this week, and we will be able to use it next week for our talk. So thank you again, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you again. And we're going to put on a few tunes for those who wish to listen to some music while we break down. Thank you.
Center Street. I just